Hello, everybody. Edre here. It is a bit late where I'm recording this right now, so yeah, this might be a bit shorter of a review. That being said, I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Jack Harlow album. That's what they all say. Jack Harlow is an artist, rapper that I've been interested in for quite some time. I've had he's always everything he's put out has sort of been a mixed bag in my opinion. Every now and then you get some stuff that works very well, and I think overall his style, his vibe, I have been relatively a fan of for the most part. But there has been a fair amount of songs that he has released as singles that I don't really think have landed nearly as well. That being said, overall, I think he does have a really good talent, and I do think that he is far from just doing this as like a cash grab. And I feel like he is a talented rapper, and going into this album, I was really hoping that he would utilize that to the best of his abilities. And stylistically speaking, in terms of his abilities and the way he performs on all these tracks, none of them really stick out as being notoriously bad. Some of them can come off a bit not memorable, but his performances themselves are just kind of okay. Sure, they're good, and from a stylistic standpoint, you could say they're good. I just feel like they don't really leave the most lasting of all impacts. That being said, I want to get a little deeper into the sound of this album and maybe like a track here or there, because unfortunately I feel like a lot of the tracks on this album did blend together for me. Not too many of them really seemed like standout tracks, unfortunately, which is kind of what I went into looking for, but I didn't really get that. Instrumentally speaking, though, there's a bit of a classic hip-hop vibe, such as on the opening track, there seems to be a bit of a classic hip-hop sound there, but overall, it's a relatively conventional sounding album. I mean, it does have a bit of a throwback to it. There's a bit more what sounds to me like a little bit of sampling here and there of drums and all that, and overall the beats seem very dry and very gritty, which leaves Jack Harlow a lot of room to rap over them. It's very easy to tell that this is a very vocal-based album. This is a very lyrical-based album instead of it being a very instrumental hip-hop album. So there are some pretty standard contemporary beats on here. There's even a few like trap beats on here as well. Even a bit of some vibes I got from Logic's latest album. But, I really don't feel like that's the main focus of this album. However, I always take that into account, and well, I really wasn't blown away by many of the instrumentals on here, any of the beats, but I also wasn't left too dissatisfied. I think for the most part, these are beats that fit Jack Harlow's style to begin with, and I think overall they leave him a lot of room to rap over them. But my big flaw with most of these songs is that so many of the tracks end before they get anywhere. And there's a lot of songs that are super short, like Face of My City with La Baby with you could tell it's late and I'm tired. Lil Baby. Yeah, that's a song that started off a little promising, mainly due to Jack Harlow's part of it, and then it ended before it got anywhere, because to be fair, I was a little disappointed with Lil Baby's feature here, because quite frankly I think Lil Baby is one of the most unoriginal, most boring rappers out there right now. I think that his sound is taken directly from the likes of Young Thug and artists of his caliber, and I've yet to be impressed by Lil Baby, and I think I was yet to be impressed by him on this album. But this kind of just goes into my overall comment on the features in general on this album. None of them really add too much. Even on the What's Poppin' remix, with I believe DaBaby, I don't feel like a song like that needs features. And I just don't feel like many of the features on this project really add much to it that really makes it stand out. So I honestly think a lot of these songs would have been better without features. Vocally, I want to talk a little bit about Harlow's delivery on a lot of these tracks. He kind of follows through with the delivery you've kind of come to expect from him. There's not too many risks taken, and in fact, that might be one of my biggest issues with the album overall, is that even though I don't think that I don't think it's like bad or anything, and I don't think that Jack Harlow delivers his songs weak. Most of them, I could tell that he's putting effort into them, but I feel like he kind of watered down his sound to the most accessible, the common denominator, because with a song as successful as What's Poppin', I know he wants to have more hits. So I have a feeling he kind of boiled his sound down to the most basic form just so he could make some hits, and I feel like he's going to get some out of this record. Lyrically, I just feel like I said, it's written, it's not the, usually I always enjoy Jack Harlow's lyrics. I always kind of enjoy his wittiness. I kind of enjoy his approach at writing. But I just feel like, once again, I feel like he kind of watered down his sound here to the point where it's a lot less personal, a lot less introspective, and a lot more accessible. Like, it's very much like party music. And, well, I get it, what's poppin' and songs like that already kind of are party music. I feel like he kind of takes it to the next level on this album, to the point where many of the songs lack a little bit of substance. And really, at the end of the day, I just feel like That's What They All Say could have been a much better project if he kind of took a little bit more risks and he pushed the boundaries a bit further on himself. I feel like he went a little easy here. I've listened to it a few times trying to find redeeming qualities, and for the most part, I just feel very average about this album. I feel like he could have definitely gone a step further. I feel like he definitely could have made an album much better, but I feel like he kind of just played it safe here, and unfortunately that dragged it down a little bit for me. I've settled on giving That's What They All Say by Jack Harlow a decent 5 out of 10. Anybody that doesn't know my reviews needs to know anything above a 5 is good, anything below is negative. So a 5 out of 10 is about as average as it gets. So I'm very indifferent on this album. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. I just honestly wish that Jack Harlow would push himself a little more. I don't feel like he pushed himself enough. I mean, and unfortunately what that led to was a lot of the songs being not that memorable compared to some of his other tracks on previous mixtapes and EPs and all that. So unfortunately, I did have to give this album a 5 out of 10. But that is it for now. Before I end this video, I just want to say I have been working on putting together my end-of-year lists for my best albums of the year and my worst albums of the year. Mainly the best albums, because I'm more excited to talk about albums I like. But I am still open to new releases, such as the Paul McCartney one coming out, which I'm hoping is good, and a few other ones coming out, so I probably won't make it at least until the end of December or early January. But yeah, expect that to come, and that is in the works. That is it for now. Goodbye. That's What They All Say by Jack Harlow. Decent 5 out of 10.